Every item used in this video can be found in my Amazon store. Please check out the description and click on the links below. What's going on, everyone? A lot of people have asked me for a shopping list. Well, this video is all about my shopping list. Everything I go for, where I go, and what I look for in specific. Check it out. There we go. No. 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 The entire Tiny Boat administration has grossly disapproved any sort of Flex Seal product. At least the liquid stuff. I don't know. They have some glue. I've never tried their tape, but I'm seriously wary of the fact that, like, every time they patch something and then it starts expanding and then they cut off the seam, it makes me think that it fails. And it's just a gimmick. Acetone is very, very good for removing impurities very quickly and also drying almost immediately after you apply it. Lacquer thinner is also great stuff. I kind of need some of that. Check it out. Yeah, we're looking at all the drill bits, and I get a lot of this questions regarding rivets and whatever I use to go through aluminum. It's the black oxide, and it could be any black oxide bit, but I mean, obviously my favorite's DeWalt. Titanium bits don't do as well for whatever reason. And it's not the branding, it's just, I don't know. Maybe the pilot hole does it, but they don't quite do it as well. The sizes that I use most often are the 1/8 and then the 3/16. And generally when I come, I clear these out because over time they do wear. We're talking about using anywhere from 1 to 400 rivets in one single build. That one bit's gonna get worn out, so you need to get 2 or 3 of them. And it's just nice overall to have a whole kit. So if you can spring for a whole kit with a few extra ones of the others that you're really gonna need, that's the best way to go. These are also very nice, extremely expensive. I don't know what the distinct advantages over these versus the cheaper ones at Harbor Freight, but the cheaper ones at Harbor Freight are like literally half the cost, if not less than that, and they do a pretty good job. But the Unibit is pretty good, definitely a good thing. If you're running all wood frames and trying to do conduits, getting speed bores, again, very, very useful tool. The hole saws, for anything that a Unibit can't actually go through, I'd always recommend the Unibit for anything bigger than that. Definitely a hole saw is the way to go. They have really nice stuff here from Lennox, obviously at a cost, but then you can also get like complete kits from Harbor Freight or even on my store for cheap, very, very cheap. Grinders, essential. You need a grinder, okay? And like, just real quickly before you go with it, a grinding disc, and then a million of these little cutting wheels. Sometimes they sell, oh, these aren't cutting wheels. What the hell are cutting wheels? Okay, these are cutting discs. A lot of those. I habitually go through cutting disc a lot. I generally get like the packs of them, and they run really well. I probably just need another pack now. Oh, I think I can hold on. I think I have enough to finish what I need to finish. I don't use Dremels too much, but there are spots where something like this would be inherently useful. Primary tool will be a drill. Okay, so whatever drill you invest in, just make sure it's a worthwhile drill that's going to last you. I mean, if you're only going to do one boat or something, you need something that's going to last you a job, then you go get one of those Harbor Freight drills, and that'll do you justice. Or you can just put in some money into something that'll last you forever. Either of those, I don't know. If you can tell me, I have a serious bias with DeWalt and Porter Cable, but you can just get a whole kit like this. That's actually very cheap. That's a badass little kit right there. That will build a boat for you. It will. You know, a skill saw, circular saw, whatever you want to call it, that's also extremely key. That's a big, big thing. A Sawzall is also extremely useful in spots. I mean, if you're really good with it and you know how to torque the blade, you can get extremely nice cuts, like very, very straight cuts, minimal damage, not like when you're using a death blade with a grinder, and actually get a better cut out of it. And if you really want to go all out, which one day I will get one of these, whenever I ever get a bigger garage, and can never have enough clamps. These are inherently useful. These ones here, and then C-clamps. I don't see any here, but the C-clamps are also the ones that with a tightening down section. Those are like these, also terribly useful, though, that you can put serious tension on. These you can only really put so much, they'll only grip so much, but these, pretty nice. And they have rivet guns and staple guns and rivets and staples here. I would buy the guns here, but the rivets and the staples are super cheap to buy at Harbor Freight. and I generally go there when I go for restock. But 1/8 and 3/16 inch rivets are really kind of the norm you're going to find in any store, unless you go to a specific shop that just has a bunch of different sizes, up to including 1/4. But, you know, label gun, there's MAPP gas, and then there's propane, and then there are all the torch heads. The max heat torches over there. That's what I would recommend, a max heat torch. And then I just started getting propane. I was getting MAPP gas, and then I realized that really they both burn like really high, over 3,500 degrees or something like that. There's only like a 50-degree difference between how high MAPP burns and how high. So unless you're really trying to braise something at really super cold temperatures, cost between MAPP and propane just isn't really feasible to me. So I have just since went out to propane. But you can also do an oxygen, because oxygen, they have an oxygen MAPP gas combo, which apparently burns really hot. They just don't have the kit here. They have it over at, I have it on my Amazon store. I'll link it down in below. And they also have it at Home Depot, I believe. But it's, these two compared, I guess they burn really hot. Very close. The hottest you're gonna get in comparison to an oxygen acetylene setup. Trusty soldering iron. I've had this one forever, but any soldering iron will do. Old trusty zip ties for the wiring clusters we're about to deal with. Look at this one. Look how obscenely big. What are you like gonna use that zip tie for? Like hemming up a body? Like the liquid tape stuff here, which I also have linked down in below in the description. I was not fond of the spray. The spray did not, like, if it's on an extremely flat surface, then fine. I guess it might work, but other than that, I just found the brush-on stuff to be much better. And especially if you're going to not run marine grade stuff and you're going to run standard copper stuff with no tin backing to it, then you're going to want to seal everything up underneath the sun, and you're definitely going to be wanting to liquid tape everything, especially your bus bars. I get piping for rod tubes. I generally go to the electric section where you have the electric PVC conduit piping. It just is in better sections for what I need. You can use any PVC piping, but it's just fairly reasonably priced per tube. I generally either use the 1 1/4 or 1 1/2, which the 1 1/2 ending. So I mean, it's one of these two generally do a pretty good job for rod tubes. Here's where you can find standard switches. They're not the like the ooh look at me switches, but they work, and some of them light up if you want. These are the grommets that I was running between spots, and especially right there at the bow where I had my trolling motor wires coming out. I was using these grommets, and I'll be using another one again. Skyrocketed recently, I have no idea why, but if you're just going to standard, you know, Lowe's lumberyard, you look at here, 15-30 seconds, that's a 1/2 inch. And 1/2 inch is my, everybody asks a lot, 1/2 inch is my preferred wood to use, because there's just enough stability to keep it all right, still light enough to keep it where you need to be. And if you really need to stiffen up, you just put like really thin under supports for it. I know these look enticing and are comparable in weight. I guess these are more for indoor cosmetic stuff like countertops and other stuff, but people have told me to stay away from the hardwood plywood and just go towards the fur braided because it's absolutely stronger. Marine grade plywood's the best obviously to get, but it's nowhere near my region, so I pick from the lot. So this is redwood, and man, that doesn't weigh jack crap. If you feel it, it is extremely light grained, much less dense than a pine frame. So it is also not as strong, and because it is less dense, it is more prone to soaking in water. But if you can actually preserve this right, meaning like you seal out the grains and you seal out the surrounding wood with whatever you need to seal, and then you sift through the pile. Make sure, because some studs you're going to tell are a lot heavier than others, and some studs that just weigh, you're like surprised at how much they weigh, like nothing. And so if you have access to redwood in your area and it's not $1 million, like this is reasonable. I can deal with that. It means for like 40-50 bucks I can frame my whole boat. The color of the foam is region specific, but this is where I get all the Arctic sheeting. They have a pretty, I think that's about 1 inch thick. It's an inch and a half thick, 3/4, 1/2 stainless steel section. And I mean, it's counted in here, but the good thing is it's really cheap. Like compared to going to another store and like getting in, it's like super cheap. So here I am to get screws for my underhatch stuff. You know, I've recommended people generally to stay away from the aluminum section of those because of the sheer expense versus what you get. But on occasion, they're really nice to use. I mean, for one, they're open on the weekend, so if you really need a piece, it's here. And secondly, they have odd shapes that I really can't find anywhere else, like this stuff. I think this is 1/16 flat bar, like for decorative stuff. They have a little bit more decorative stuff versus like structural, like architectural stuff. They're gonna have that because that's what people are really looking for, like home projects. And so they're gonna have just unique pieces of flat bar and angle and tubing and whatever, and just unique shapes like this. This is like perfect for hinges. Oh man, I'm gonna get that. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna get all this actually right now. And then if it's available, a metal shop generally has everything else underneath the sun. This is a local metal shop that I just went to recently to purchase the last little bit of aluminum I needed to finish my boat. Look at their stock. Look at all the different shapes and sizes. That's all 1/8 inch thick and above, but it's pretty much got everything you need. And then the other side here's got all the architectural stuff at 1/16. I love this place. It has everything I need, and I go here often, and I get huge discounts because when you buy it in bulk, it's cheaper, way cheaper. This is where I get the staples and the 100 rivets a box for the 1/2 inch. And that's really where I go. They even have 1/4 inch. I've never, but I mean, everything they have here for like things that'll last a job. So if you're just trying to get through a boat build, and you don't invest too much. $349 for a rivet gun. That's pretty epic. Fire wheels. And of course all their like kit stuff. Really cool kit stuff. Stainless steel kits, grommets. Use a lot of their adhesives just for practice, for whatever. And then they have heat shrink terminals right there, like in various different sizes, plus all the heat shrink tubing you could need, various kits, zip ties, like wire looms, holders, terminal connectors. Like you can get a million terminal connectors for like nothing. Another thing I do, I burn through a lot, is just the big tubes of RTV silicone, which is the same thing as like the DAP marine, so it's the same thing. It's works really well. I use it for pretty much everything. Like I go through like 3 to 6 bottles of that stuff, or tubes of that stuff for each build. Now, as far as some of the other stuff, the latches, the struts, the hinges, the hardware, the wiring, the terminals, the fuse blocks, the LEDs, the other specific like intricate hardware is the upgrades, like all the Scotty mounts, all the other things, the carpet, the hinges. I said the hinges, but the pull latches, the different, everything is there in different types of stuff there. I have a lot of stuff, everything that you would need for a boat is in my store, legit. So check it out. Here's the address, and it's also in the description part of this video below. Please check it all out. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.